Good morning, students. Today we will see the characteristic of living organism, that is reproduction. Last time we studied first characteristic of organism, that is growth, but today we will see the second characteristic of living organism, that is reproduction. But before starting this topic, I would like to say something. I have given explanation to make you understand in a simpler form. If you like my video, so please like and share my video. So now we will start the second characteristic. Okay, so first we will see the definition of reproduction. The definition is, it's a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones similar to itself. That means it's a biological process in which one organism at maturity will produce offspring which will be similar to itself. Okay, so here the progeny is produced which will be similar to its parents. Okay, now there are two types of reproduction. The first is sexual reproduction and second is asexual reproduction. What is the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction? So in sexual reproduction, two parents are involved, while in asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved. Okay, so here reproductive cells will play a major role, that is female gamete and male gamete. Female gamete is egg cell which will come from female and male gamete is sperm which will come from male. Okay, so two parents of opposite sex. Here male and female will be involved. That means mother and father we can say. Now these two cells, egg cell and sperm, will join and this process is known as fertilization. After fertilization there will be formation of zygote. Okay, and zygote will undergo mitosis and there will be formation of baby, we can say progeny. Now we will see asexual reproduction. Here only one parent is involved, so progeny will be exactly same as that of parent or each other. Okay, so here there will be no variation. If you see the another difference between sexual and asexual reproduction, so in case of sexual reproduction, mother and father, so characters from both the side will be there in the progeny, so there will be variety of progeny will be produced. But in case of asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved, no recombination of genes, so obviously whatever progeny will be produced, they will be exactly similar to the parent or each other. Now we will see the types of asexual reproduction. In your textbook also all these are given, so I will give you explanation of all this one by one. Here name of organism is written and which reproductive method they are showing, here it is written. So the examples are yeast, hydra. In these organisms budding is seen as an asexual reproduction. Amoeba, binary fission, sporulation. In planaria, regeneration. Then fungi, filamentous algae and protonema of mosses, they will show fragmentation. Here fungi will show spore formation. Okay, now we will see one by one. So first we will see budding. Okay, there are two kinds of budding, exogenous and endogenous budding. First of all we will see what is bud. Okay, so bud means cells of some part of the animal repeatedly undergo mitotic divisions and the rest regions of cell masses called bud. Okay, so here bud means in a body of, in a body some parts are there. So cells of this part of animal repeatedly undergo mitotic division. Okay, and they will form raised region of cell masses. Okay, the raised region which is made up of cells, and it is known as bud. From such a bud, a young animal develops. It separates from the parent body and lives as an independent animal. Here in case of Hydra and yeast, bud is produced on the outside of the body. It is called as exogenous budding. Okay, now I am showing you picture. Exogenous budding means the bud is formed on the outer surface of the body. Exo means outer. And another type is endogenous budding. That means the bud is formed inside the body of an organism. So that is the difference. Okay. So exogenous budding, here the picture of yeast is given. It's a type of fungi and it is unicellular, and the scientific name of yeast is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Yeast is only fungi which is unicellular, other fungi are multicellular. So here you can see this is mature yeast cell, we can say the mother cell or parent cell. Now the bud is formed, you can see. Here you can see the bud is formed, it is bulge part. Okay, now this bud will separate from the parent body and divides into two cells. Okay, and this is the daughter cell. Okay, now we will see the budding in Hydra, and Hydra also shows exogenous kind of budding. Here you can see the structure of Hydra, which belongs to phylum Coelenterate. Here these are the tentacles which are used to capture food. Okay. Now you can see the tiny bump appears on the parent Hydra. Here you can see the tiny bump which is raised portion which is known as bud. Now the parent Hydra develops bud. Here now the bud grows simultaneously. You can see the bud is fully grown. After that the bud breaks off to become an independent Hydra. Now this bud will detach from the parent Hydra. Okay, now the new Hydra will be formed. Okay, now we will see the endogenous budding. The example is Spongilla, which belongs to phylum Porifera, and Spongilla is a freshwater sponge, and another example is Cycon, which is marine sponge. Okay, so here how they produce by endogenous budding. Here some specialized cell masses are produced towards the inside of the body. An envelope surrounds this cell mass. Such structures are called internal buds or gemmules. Each gemmule gives rise to a new animal. This is called endogenous budding. Okay, now I am showing you picture. See, this is the picture of gemmules. Okay, and gemmules are nothing but they are cell masses which are produced inside the body of sponge. Okay, so they are known as internal bud because they are produced inside the body. And here you can see one is gemmule and plural is gemmules. Each gemmule will form new sponge. Okay, so this is an example of endogenous budding. Now we will see the second method of asexual reproduction, that is binary fission. The example is amoeba. Okay, binary fission means bi means two, fission means breakdown. Okay, so here one parent amoeba will produce two amoeba, two daughter amoeba. Okay, so here the nucleus divides first and the cytoplasm next. Okay, first of all, in this process division of nucleus will take place. After that cytoplasm will divide. Subsequently the mother cell splits into two equal sized daughter cells. Okay, here you can see this is amoeba, see, which is irregular shape, and these are pseudopodia. They are the extensions of cytoplasm which are useful for movement and capturing food. So this is one parent amoeba. Okay, so here one nucleus is there, and here first nucleus will be divided. After that two nuclei will be formed. Okay, then cytoplasm will also divide. After that, at last you can see there will be formation of two amoeba. Okay, so from one amoeba two amoeba will be formed. Here two daughter cells we can say. Now this each amoeba you can see, this amoeba will also undergo binary fission. This amoeba will undergo binary fission. So this amoeba will produce another two amoeba. This will also produce another two amoeba. So total 4. So in this way amoeba will produce. Suppose one amoeba is there. From one amoeba two amoeba. From two amoeba 4. From 4 to 8 amoeba. Like that the numbers are increasing. Okay. So in case of amoeba we can't distinguish between the cell division and reproduction, because here one cell, because amoeba is unicellular organism. Okay, so here one cell divides and forming two cells. So in this way the number of cells are increasing, and in this way it is producing also. Okay, so we can't distinguish. Now we will see regeneration. Okay, re means again, generation means production. So here lost part is produced, and it's a one kind of fragmentation also. Okay, so regeneration is seen in planaria, hydra, starfish, earthworm. In this method of reproduction, the body becomes fragmented into several distinct parts. Each part develops the remaining body parts and becomes a complete animal. This capacity is known as regeneration. You can say this is planaria, which belongs to phylum Platyhelminthes. Suppose by any reason the planaria is broken into three parts. You know, this head part, which is upper part, the middle part, and this is lower part. Okay, so each part will give rise to the remaining parts. Okay, suppose the head region is there, so remaining parts are middle and lower. Okay, so whole planaria will be formed. Here middle region is broken, so which part is missing? The upper part and the lower part. So whole planaria will be formed. Here the lower part is cut, then missing parts are middle and upper part. So in this way three planaria are formed by regeneration. Okay, now we will see the fragmentation. Okay, fragmentation means something is broken down into pieces. So that is known as fragmentation. And fragmentation is seen as algae, fungi. Okay, now we will see the examples also. In some algae, for example, Eulothrix, Udogonium, Spirogyra, fragmentation is seen, and fungi like Mucor, Rhizopus. The vegetative thallus or hypha break up into small segments due to mechanical pressure, and each segment is capable of growing into a new mycelium. Okay, now what to mean by thallus? So thallus is a structure of algae, we can say, because in plants the body is divided into root, stem and leaf, but in case of algae we can't differentiate. Okay, the body is not distinguished into root, stem and leaf, and the body is known as thallus like body. And hyphae means, the singular is hypha and plural is hyphae. So in case of fungus, singular is fungus, plural is fungi. Okay, so the fungal body is made up of what? It's made up of hyphae. Okay, so it's a thread-like structure. Now, there are so many thread-like structures, and they are all together is known as mycelium. Okay, so you can see this is the fungal body, and this is one thread which is broken, and this broken part will be able to produce the whole body. Okay, now this is mucor, example of fungus. Okay, here it is written fragmentation in Spirogyra, and Spirogyra is a one type of algae. You can see it's a filamentous algae. Due to some reason, if this algae is broken down into pieces, here you can see it is broken down into two pieces, then each piece will form new algae. Okay, now we will see the last example of fragmentation, that is protonema of moss. Okay, here also by fragmentation the new plant is formed. So first of all, what is protonema? Okay, so protonema, it's a predominant stage of life cycle of moss is the gametophyte. Okay, so in life cycle of moss there are two stages. The protonema is the primary stage. Okay, so now which is developed directly from the spore, which is creeping, green in color, branched and filamentous structure. Okay, now on this protonema, if you see, the bud is developed, and from this bud the new plant will be developed. Okay, this bud will detach and give rise to the another plant. Now we will see the spore formation. Example is fungi. The names are Aspergillus and Penicillium. Okay, so spore formation, here the spores are formed, and these spores are non-flagellate and non-motile spores. They are known as conidia. Okay, non-flagellate means here flagella is absent. Singular is flagellum, plural is flagella. Okay, so the flagella is a hair-like structure. So obviously they can't move, because flagella, they are helping in the movement, swimming also. So here, due to the absence of flagellum, it is known as non-flagellate. So it is non-motile. Okay, and this kind of spores are known as conidia. Various kinds are most common among terrestrial fungi, and these conidia, these kind of spores are light in weight, they are dry and provided with a tough coat, and are adapted for dispersal by wind. You can see the structure of Aspergillus and Penicillium. Here these are the spores which are arranged in the form of chain, and these spores are known as conidia. This is conidiophore, this is foot cell. Okay, this is vesicle. So this conidial chain is there, so these spores will give rise to another Aspergillus, okay, which is example of fungus. Okay, same way in the case of Penicillium, it also reproduces asexually by conidia. Okay, now In case of living organisms, mules, sterile workers, infertile human couples are there. Okay, mule means it's a hybrid which is produced by mating of mare and donkey. Okay, so it is sterile means it can't produce progeny. Sterile worker bees, okay, in case of honeybee the labor division is there, so the worker bees are there, they are sterile, they don't have capacity to produce progeny. And in case of human beings also, some couples are infertile, okay, means they can't produce baby, they don't have capacity. Okay, the defect may be in male or in female also. Okay, you can see all these are living organism, but they don't have capacity to reproduce. So we can say the reproduction, we can't take this characteristic in the definition of living organism. Okay, here it is written, hence reproduction is also cannot be an inclusive defining characteristic of living organisms. Of course, non-living object is not capable of reproducing or replicating by itself. Means, you know, the table is non-living, it can't produce another table. The chair is non-living, it can't produce another chair. Fan is a non-living thing, it can't produce another fan. Okay, so to be a living organism, it doesn't necessary that it should have the reproductive capacity. Okay, because the living organisms are there, but though they are living organisms, still though they don't have the capacity to reproduce. Thank you.